Trump's staunchest allies is breaking with the administration over the Jeffrey Epstein saga. In a new interview with the Wall Street Journal, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene details why she's trying to force a vote to release the full Epstein files, stating, quote, "We campaigned on transparency issues like release the Epstein files, and all of a sudden there's this hard stance coming from the Republican leader."
I think I was watching Tim Dillon and Joe Rogan, and I don't know if it was on that show, but it might have been, where Tim was saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene would be running in 2028. They were kind of laughing and stuff like that. But you know what, man? I mean, she's kind of Trumpian on, a little bit more. Obviously, the woman angle is good. She's got a lot of good things in terms of she's a little bit out there, which is kind of fun, like Tim was saying. But yeah, man, it would be an interesting run. It would be a pretty interesting run. I really would be super excited to see if that was going to actually come down.
And many of the members in the administration, and I'm shocked by it. And I think it's a major misstep. It is an uncalculated error that is going to have ramifications directly in the midterms. Now, much of this isn't really a surprise, since for weeks, Greene and a handful of her Republican colleagues have been speaking about the need for full transparency. But what's interesting is who Greene chose to give this interview to. You'll remember that in July, President Trump sued the Wall Street Journal less than 24 hours after they published an article which said that he sent a letter to Epstein in 2003 that included his signature and a drawing of a naked woman. This, according to documents reviewed by the Journal, President Trump has denied sending this letter, adding that he doesn't draw pictures of women. Joining us now, Dean Obeidallah, host of Sirius XM's Dean Obeidallah Show and an MSNBC daily columnist, and Jekyll Hutt, senior writer for Wired. Okay. Anytime I get to say naked like a Southerner on television,
I nearly laughed out loud when you said that, Elise.
I know. It comes out. But so what do you make, Jake, of this just version of MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, her initials as she's known by, where she actually is going with Democrats up against Trump on something that he's hugely inflamed about? Let's listen to her and Thomas Massie this week at the press conference with Epstein survivors, and I want to get your response to that.
I'm not afraid to name names. And so if they want to give me a list, I will walk in that Capitol on the House floor, and I'll say every damn name that abused these women.
We demand real accountability. I encourage my colleagues, please. There's over 200 Republicans who have not signed this discharge petition. We only need 2 of them to sign it, and every Democrat will sign it.
Yeah, they're playing a good game. It's smart. It's very smart. It's very calculated. Especially Massie. I'm a big fan of Massie. Trump targeted him for not towing the line, but I think Massie's right in a lot of the issues that he puts forth. The excessive amount of, I think Massie has more grounding in MAGA at this point than Trump. If you're looking at MAGA in the sense of, cutting government spending, really hoping that DOJ was going to actually go through the DOD or soon to be Department of War, and the Fed, all of those things that there's a lot of entities, there are a lot of groups that are really down for the dismantling of the system, and it just seemed like Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're kind of more along that line, which is why, like I said, it'd be super interesting if she would have run in 2028. It'd be great if Massie ran. I think, maybe I'm in a bit of a Massie bubble, but I think it would just be fantastic. Those are the people that I really like seeing come forward, and I really hope that they continue. Let's see what this panel has to say about them.
She's not backing down. She is in this fight, and she's not going to quit, it sounds like.
No, so her standing in Trump world and kind of within, both Trump's inner circle and just within the broader base, the media system, pretty fascinating topic when it comes up with my sources, because on the one hand, she has this key relationship with her actual boyfriend, Brian Glenn, who does, the White House correspondence gig for Steve Bannon's network. He asks Trump questions all the time. He's, around, they're chummy. She's not persona non grata per se, but this is basically the lowest her political capital has almost ever been since she's, really come onto the scene around Trump. But of all things to spend political capital on, this is pretty indicative, I think, of how she reads where the base is going. And frankly, she's not alone in this respect. I think Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, there's some other members who have, voted for these Epstein-related measures on the floor, and they're trying to get some at least a semblance of breathing room for their own political futures.
Is it a political read of where their bases, their constituents, their voters are, or is this a principled vote for them on trying to stand up? I mean, maybe it's both. I don't know, but it's hard for me to imagine this. Maybe because we've talked about it so much that this Republican Party, this modern day Republican Party, does anything that could piss off Donald Trump. Or prioritize their constituents over MAGA.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be the most politically expedient and kind of like integrity adjacent way to step out like this when there are so few that people have found to cross Donald Trump so far. But I think it's a great way to put it because, you know, for Marjorie Taylor Greene, the added element here is the speech and debate clause when you're talking on the House floor. Yeah. So if she's going to list off these names where other people would be pretty frozen up to try to include that in any kind of association in a print article, a program such as the one we're on right now. You know, so that's an interesting card she holds. Where like if she falls through on that, that's a threat I think the White House should take incredibly seriously. Yeah.
Dean, what do you make of it all?
Well, here's what I think. To me, Marjorie Taylor Greene is vile and despicable. So the fact that she might say something that I might agree with now means nothing to me. To me, the bigger story, frankly, there's 219 Republicans in the House. Only 4 will sign the discharge petition to release the documents. And that's why the GOP stands for guardians of pedophiles. That's what this party's about. And that's not just my view. The brave women who stood up and spoke there, some of them said, stand with the survivors and not the predators. And the GOP is saying, we stand with the predator because Donald Trump's the predator in chief. So to me, whatever her calculation is, I don't like her. I don't trust her. I don't care why she's doing it. The GOP is the party protecting pedophiles and sexual predators, and that's what should define this party going forward.
I have to ask you, too, about this hidden camera undercover video that came out. So a DOJ official revealed to a right-wing media group, the O'Keefe Media Group, people may recognize that name. He's sort of been notorious for doing this for a while, that the government is going to redact every Republican from the Epstein files. Of course, officials have said that these were his own personal comments.
Talking about so James O'Keefe, I forget the name of his network now. You know, he was with Project Veritas before he was outed, but he did an undercover operation basically where he does it all the time. Where he gets one of these insiders to like go on a date. Usually, it's like a guy with a guy. In this particular instance, I think it was a guy and who was on a date with a female, and she was poking and prodding and getting him to admit that obviously the guy was a Democrat, and I don't know if the information he was giving was obviously it was like tainted through his lens because he is a liberal or a Democratic operative, but he was essentially saying, like what she said, that they were going to release the list. They're just going through and negating all of the Republican names in the list. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
He said he learned in the media, and the DOJ has said that the comments in the video have no bearing at all. But what do you make of that? Was that revealing to you?
Of course it was revealing. And I think there's, again, a bigger story that some in the media, not you guys, are missing. And the bigger story is Pam Bondi is AG now. Pam Bondi was AG of Florida from 2011 to 2019, when Jeffrey Epstein continued with his child sex ring after he was released from prison. She made going after child sex pedophiles, she said that's top priority. Never investigated Jeffrey Epstein in all those years while he was doing this. And then she's rewarded by being Attorney General of the United States under Donald Trump. There's a straight line from her protecting Jeffrey Epstein there, I think, and where she is now. So, of course, her DOJ is going to erase Republican names from any documents going on. I think it's a very real and accurate comment. And again, I think Bondi deserves to be more looked into and criticized. Why didn't she investigate Jeffrey Epstein? It's happening in her state. Her own DOJ in 2018, when they indict Epstein, says after he was released from prison, he continued. He did it in Florida, right there, her state. What was she doing?
And was he asking further back in 2018? I don't know who this little guy is, but obviously just a liberal hack, but whatever. Listen, that's not to say that some of the stuff he's saying isn't accurate, right? But him just to say that he hates Marjorie Taylor Greene, that she's like the most horrible person ever. Explain to me why. Explain to me why.
Can we show the polling? Let's look at the polling on how the American public is gauging Trump's handling of Epstein files. You have 3 polls, and it's basically uniform that most of the country does not. He's losing big time on this issue. And you have very few Republicans who understand the political liability here. Also, I think it is notable that it's 3 women, too, 3 of the 4. And then you need, I guess, 2 more, Jake, 2 more Republican votes to whip this. Do you think that those votes are going to happen? Are there 2 Republicans who still might come forward and vote for the release?
Well, look, I mean, mine beats the White House, not the Hill, and I respect the heck out of people who hustle around that building all day to try to figure out stuff like, what is Brian Fitzpatrick going to do on any given?
Well, tell us what the White House is doing to make sure that those 2 votes don't pop up out of nowhere, because I think your reporting suggests that the White House has been working the lines.
And the crazy thing is, like, on the one hand, the complaint from a lot of the Trump advisors I speak to is there is no strategy, and like, when is someone going to give us a walkthrough of what to anticipate, what to expect, not just like tomorrow or next week, but like going down the line here, like how are we going to land this plane? No one has an answer to that yet. The other part, though, is they still have a tremendous amount of influence when it comes to the midterms, when it comes to primary challenges. And, you know, it's funny because I think in Trump 1.0, all these businesses in the private sector and all these members on the Hill, they were like, oh, we're one Trump tweet away from stuff getting really bad. And obviously we've seen with, you know, take your pick now of wherever the National Guard is deployed or whoever is the latest victim of a shakedown. Like, this is a much different landscape than just like having a lot of money spent on attack ads. So yeah, they're afraid. Like, I think anyone who's telling you otherwise there is lying.
Yeah. So it's a MSNBC is they're all flailing right now. All these news agencies, they're flailing. They're trying to do anything right now just to get views. You know, you can see all of these shows. They're just coming up with these different formats, these different styles of you know, talking and interviewing and just shooting the shit. They're trying to make it seem. It's really funny when you look at all of these scenarios now. When you look at all these news outlets and these networks, these major networks, they're trying to make it look like podcasting. They're trying to make it look like people sitting down having a conversation. They're mimicking what is actually working, which is people sitting around a camera talking. Shooting the shit, not so scripted, not so, you know, you get a 1 minute argument here, you get a 1 minute argument there, you get 10 different boxes of 10 different people. That's just what I'm noticing off of this. But yeah, when it comes to this issue, again, I think Trump also just said recently that he believes it's a hoax again. Just a really, really poor wording. He's doing a really shitty job on this. He needs to just back away, back off. Obviously, if you're lefty reporters, you're going to keep hammering him on this issue, right? Like that guy said. With the Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene initiative, all the Democrats signing off on it, and no Republicans. So they're going to have a lot to say. The lefty media is going to have a lot to pick at when it comes to this issue, and then Trump should just back away. Just say, listen, I'm dealing with other things right now. Pam and Cash and all these other guys, they're handling that. I'm going to wait to get the final report on it. I don't have any more information about that, and just leave it at that. Him getting baited by these reporters, it just keeps feeding into the narrative and keeps driving this issue into the ground, and it's a losing issue for the administration. Guys, thank you so much. Please hit the subscribe button. It costs absolutely nothing. It's just one little click. Do it. Great. And my name is John Soto. Follow me on the X6283 Talk, and I will see you again on the next video. Take care.